Hey guys, John here again from portabledeviceparts.com. Just with today's tutorial is an iPhone 4 replacement home button tutorial. Now the home button is the button here, the front button on the iPhone. Now the steps are exactly the same with the 4S. The 4S only has a few extra screws, and I'll show you where when we actually do the disassembly. So on a level of difficulty, I'd probably say this is about a 6 or 7 out of 10 for someone that hasn't done it before. Now first of all, what you need is a pair of tweezers. Not essential, but they do come in handy if you want to pull out screws. Pentalobe screwdriver, which does come with the parts that we sell. A separation tool to take off cables. A spudger. This is probably not essential, but you can also use a blade or a knife, something similar. And Phillips head screwdriver, which also comes with the home buttons that you purchase from us. So obviously you do also need the part. So the first step is get your iPhone and eject the SIM card. Okay, obviously this one doesn't have anything there, but just eject it and put that aside. Okay, and just put your phone down and make sure you put everything in a place that you know where they're going to be. Okay, so your screws, maybe have a bucket or something ready. Okay, now second step is we need to take off the back cover. So we get our pentalobe screwdriver and we take off the back cover like so. It's very hard in front of the camera, so just please bear with me, guys. If it does look like I'm, kind of a, bit awkward with this. Okay, now, and the next step is slide off the back cover by pushing forward towards the north of the phone and then lifting. Now you have the phone exposed. You need to work your way through taking off sets of screws. So probably the next thing to do is obviously try and disconnect the power. So we look for the battery. So we get a Phillips head screwdriver and take off the screw here for the battery. I'll just put these tools out of the way now so I can show you guys what I'm doing a bit better. Okay, now the next step is get your separating tool and underneath separate the connector. Like so. Now the part after that is taking the battery out. This battery has adhesive stick, so it's good to go on this side, wedge your separator in there and pull up slowly. Be patient, you don't want to put too much pressure on the iPhone. Sometimes if they have been worked on, like this one before, it is extremely sticky. So just go slowly. The adhesive will eventually come off. And at the bottom here you'll see that there's sometimes some sticky stuff, so I just usually get a knife or a blade and just slowly move it across. Like so. And then peel from south to north. When I say south to north, I usually mean from the bottom of the iPhone to the top of the iPhone. Okay, so there we go, we have the battery, put that aside, and now the battery is removed. Okay, now there's going to be a little metal bracket here. And I'm just going to bring the light down so you guys can see. Get your tweezers, remove the bracket from there, put that aside. Now that's done, we move on to the next screws. We need to take off now these two screws, a plate and a connecting cable. I'll just put this on there. Now there's a plate, remove the plate, and that section's done. Once you've done that section, you move on to the next section of screws. Now the next section of screws I do prefer is to start with the vibrator. This little component here gives you the vibration when you do get a phone call, so pretty much if you actually ever need to replace that, just for future reference, that is the part. Now remove the screws accordingly. There's two here. With your tweezers, remove it, or your fingers, it doesn't really matter. Comes out easy, it's not stuck. Okay, now the next section is we need to remove a bracket here and the screws associated there. So I'll just show you. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And actually this screw is on top of another screw. It might sound strange, but I'll show you what I mean. This might seem tricky. It's not really tricky, you just need to be patient. So you need to allocate at least half an hour or so to do this job. Sometimes the screws just don't come out easy, so you just get a pair of tweezers and pull them out. Okay, now we can remove the bracket once all those screws are gone. It's pretty easy, you just have to get your fingernails or something under there and slowly lift it off. Just lift it up and out, like so. So you just go forward and up. Very easy. Put that aside. Okay, now what I meant before by another screw underneath is that screw was screwed into this screw. So we'll eventually take that off. You can take that off now if you want. It's a strange screw, like a Phillips head sometimes work. If that doesn't work, you can just, you can use a flathead screwdriver, you can use pretty much anything, but like even if I was to use a spudger, it could work. Just loosen it, and you can even use a Phillips head. I'm just going to get the light so you guys can see it, and then get a pair of tweezers. This is just a general screw, you don't need any specialized tools for it, so don't panic. It's just going to be a bit awkward. It is awkward because I'm trying not to get in the way of the camera, so I'll just get a Phillips head. I find that this always works for me. Some people have told me they've used the pentalobe to undo this. There we go. As you can see now, that's screwing out. That screws out pretty easy. All these screws should come out fairly easy, especially if you get like the correct toolkit with the actual items. Now, the next step is moving on to some more screws, unfortunately. So we need to move down to the south of the phone, the bottom end where the speaker is. Okay, so the first thing is we need to undo this cable. Very easy. You just need to get under it with, make sure you use plastic pry tools because this is on the actual logic board. It's always good that, when you're dealing with anything that's on the logic board, you use the plastic tools. So you just take that off and you unstick it like that. It's got a bit of adhesive. And you'll see right there, there's a screw exposed. Undo that screw. Now, there's a little connector here. I'll just point it out right there. Once again, you can get this little tool and just flick it up, and off it comes. It's very small. Just point it out there. There. Okay, now what we need to do is take off another screw, and that's located here. Put that in a nice secure area. And then we should be able to continue on. So I would probably move to the next step, which would be going back up to the north and taking off connecting cables for the LCD. So we go there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very easy to come off these ones. And I'll just try and show you by 1. I'd usually use my nails. 2. Or you can even use this and go 3. There we go. So you got 1, 2, 3. Okay, next step. Removing the camera. Oops, sorry. I sort of almost forgot. We take off this at the bottom here. So we go 1 and 2. So we got 2 off there. And now we take off the camera connector. I've always found the camera connector to be one of the hardest, but you just got to be patient. You can even use your nail, or There we go. And that comes off. It's still not hard, don't get me wrong there. So now we've got all the connectors undone. Okay, now the next step is more screws. We've got screws, and I'll just show you, in here and here, and then we remove this bracket. So just trying to show you in the camera. Got one. And we got two. Sorry, I'll just show you that there. Two. Now this screw is very important. It's a screw that holds the motherboard. You'll see that there's just usually white coating on there. Okay, that's just like tamper coating. So what you do is you just try and push through that. If that doesn't work, I usually get tweezers. There we go. Then just open it a bit. And that comes out there. Okay, now pretty much the motherboard is almost free, or the logic board as they call it. Okay, now we can slowly lift that up. And it should, if you've taken everything out, it should just easily come right off like that. And put the motherboard, or logic board should I say, aside. That's the most valuable piece of the iPhone. And now we should be able to easily, if I haven't forgot anything, there we go. Sometimes there's a bit of adhesive stuck here, so you just need to pull that off, and then you can pull the speaker out fairly easily. Okay, now we need to take this part off the frame. I usually just undo these screws, but I just make them loose, and I'll show you why. If you can make them loose, it's a lot easier. You don't have to spend time putting them back in. Okay, except for these two bottom ones here. 2. You take them out in the corner. So we got 1, 2, and once again on this side there's these bigger type screws. Just loosen them and see how you go. Look, if you really are worried that you want to take them off, you can take them off. They're just a bit hard to get back in because they have their own washers. And most people do tend to get a bit worried. Now, Now we're fine to actually disconnect this frame from the front screen. So this is probably more of the tricky part. Okay, what I mean by that is I'll just show you. Sometimes if the phone has been repaired already, you can easily just get something under there and like a spudger and pull it apart. But if it hasn't, you're in for a bit of a battle. Now, a lot of people, I guess, for the first time are a bit hesitant on being a bit more rough with a phone that you're repairing. Now, I'll just show you what I mean. Like, you just need to be patient, but you still have to be fairly firm, and eventually it'll come off. Now, in this case, it hasn't been repaired before, so I'm just going to use a blade. Blades are very effective in this, and you'll see, just turn it, turn it, turn it. Eventually work your way around and down. Okay? Now these corners are always a bit harder than usual. And then go to the other side. Use a blade if it's very tight. A blade's very sufficient in this. Just as long as you're careful and you don't, like, aesthetically you can scar the actual the iPhone. And I mean, you know, you want it to keep its form, I guess, and looking fairly respectable. See here, you'll hear like a ripping. That's just the sticky adhesive coming off. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. Unfortunately, on this demonstration, the one I've got's got I always start from the south end. I mean, that's what I prefer, because that's where the adhesive is. Okay. Slowly it comes off. And as you can see, that's eventually pried off. What I mean by the sticky stuff is the adhesive here. You just need to be patient. I mean, that's the main thing with this phone. And make sure the cables, you just don't pull it out because you have cables here. And there we go, that's separated now. And we have the home button exposed. So you put the LCD screen somewhere. Now we need to take, and I'm going to try and zoom in as much as I can on this. This is going to be hard. Now, what you need to do is flick a little cable connector on here up, like that. It's flicked up. Get a pair of tweezers, pull the old button out, and there we go. As you can see, something's fallen out, which is the old home button. Put that aside. Get your new home button. It should come in a pack like this with everything stuck together. Okay, and you just feed it through here, like so. Just put it on there, and you should be able to reinsert the cable inside. Be patient. This is can be very tedious if you don't have tweezers. There we go. As you can see, I've inserted it in there. Now you just close the locking connector. There we go. That's done. So now we have to do everything in reverse. That is your screen that is your screen removed with the home button replaced. Okay, so pretty much that's a fairly easy task, and you need to do everything in reverse now. So what I mean by reverse is put the screen back through there, and then go on the other side, put the screws back in, and connect everything, and then Bob's your uncle. So once again, thank you for watching this tutorial. Look, for those that haven't done it before, it's about a 30 to 40 minute job. For those that will be technicians, you'll eventually get this down to about a 15 to 20 minute job. Please visit portabledeviceparts.com to purchase the replacement home button kits that come with toolkits and a free screen protector. And also on the comment section you'll see a link to where you can purchase it. It's pretty much worldwide shipping with 2 business days delivery in Canada, US, UK and Australia. Thanks a lot. Bye.